Bam! What did you guys think of that? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Friday Night Live. I am Christopher Rausch, and we are going to be joined by my co-host here just very shortly, Mr. Scott Goyette. But we welcome you here to Friday Night Lives, where we bring to you the guests, where we ask the tough questions, where we go deep to really understand what the root causes of situations are, and more importantly, what the root solutions are to situations. And tonight is going to be no different. We're going to be talking about a very broad subject, but yet very personal to you, talking about how we can heal humanity, how we can start by healing ourselves, and how we can start doing the inner work ourselves. So we've got some fantastic guests that are going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. But once again, I just want to sincerely thank each and every one of you who have been watching these shows with us and who've been tuning in the last couple of episodes. The last 3 episodes, we've been directly talking about Black Lives Matter and having our guests on and talking about very candid subjects, very authentic people sharing what it is their perspective is from the Black Lives Matter movement, what we're doing to try to create equity among all of our friends and brothers and sisters across all different nations and all different races. So thank you so much for that. The views, the shares, the comments, the private messages to both Scott and I have been phenomenal. So we really, truly appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in here and being here every Friday night. We know that you can be doing other things on Fridays, and I know a lot of you see this on replay, but spending your time with us is really just a great way to build a family, and that's what you guys are to us, is your family to us. And so, like I said before, we've got a couple of great guests we're going to bring on in just a minute, but before I do, I'm going to add my beautiful co-host, Mr. Scott Goyette. What's going on, Scott?
Oh, life is good, man. Life is good. I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting all day to get on and do this. And we've got this beautiful, and I did, by the way, I ran back from the bathroom. I just saw the thing that you created. That was beautiful. And the background of the brick. Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. I think I got most of it. I got the tail end. It was pretty awesome. I love it.
Cool. I'll play it for you later. Yeah, it was something I worked on. I was a little surprised for you. So happy Friday to you. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, thank you so much. And I love the brick background. It's like, we're always talking about kind of the writing on the wall and like just the kind of like, it's just very raw. And it just says that with a brick background. I love it.
Mm-hmm. And we build everything brick by brick, really. I mean, you think about you cite Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's a brick by brick. We talk about, consequential steps of actions that we take to build our fortress, hopefully the one that we're not hiding from the world from. But how's your week been, man?
It's been a week. It's been one of the things that I love doing, and we talk about a lot, is leaning into the things that make you uncomfortable. And so we practice what we preach, and I'm doing it. And so a lot of the things I'm leaning into are exhausting, growth opportunities, the potential springboards for some huge success, but equally tiring. And to be honest with you, it's my favorite time of the week, because you can kind of finally take a break and just connect with everybody instead of working on stuff. So I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm here.
Most definitely. No, yeah, it has been. It's been a crazy week, but for me, at least, it's been better than it was last week. My energy's been higher a little bit this week in connecting with people. And, quite honestly, you saw the show Tuesday night where we had one of our guests that's going to be on tonight, Serena Bufalino. I mean, I got a charge from meeting her and having that conversation with her for that hour. And I think it's 14 minutes or something like that. Just really kind of lifted me to a new spot and thinking about, the ways that we can look at, the overall situation in the world, like you and I do, and we have those conversations, is just, seeing the tenacity and the confidence and the courage and the free will just to go jump into things and make a difference in people's lives, whether it was the at-risk kids or whether it's with her helphealhumanity.org. I have a hard time saying H's in a row. Doing that, it's just been pretty phenomenal since seeing that, and the feedback from the show has been tremendous too. So it's amazing how sometimes you and I cannot be like in our top spot, but we talked to one of our guests and we're like, holy shit, I didn't realize it was that bad. I've got it this good. Or you see that inspiration. I think that's one of the cool things about what we do.
Yeah. And you nailed it. You said, like in the beginning, you were talking about the whole thing that everybody here is our family. So, we don't always have to be the top dog. I mean, one day you feel great and you've got some answers. The next day it's me. It doesn't matter. Like, we show up, and that's something we're preaching all the time, showing up. You brought it up. I think we were talking by text or voice earlier, but you were talking about really showing up for your son and stop worrying about all the things you have to do and just be with him. And I mean, listen, we can go on all day about like all the things that we have to do, but sometimes just being with the people that matter, whether it's here on this show right now for 2 hours, whether it's with your son, with family, friends, I mean, that's really why we're alive. We're here to be the best we can be. And part of that requires doing, but it also requires just our presence.
Yep.
So here we are. We're present.
Very true. Very true, my brother. Very true. I'm going to do something that's uncharacteristic of me. Normally, I don't like to read introductions and bios and stuff like that. I'm just like, I'd rather just bring the person on. But one of our guests tonight has such an amazing repertoire and resume. So I just want to take a moment here just to read this to you guys, just to give you the impact of the person that we're going to be having on here, in addition to Serena, who is already majorly impactful. But Patricia is a certified meditation specialist facilitator, completing her certification in applied mindfulness and transformative mindfulness and mindfulness without borders from Factor in Wentash Faculty of Social Work at University of Toronto. Sorry about that. She has enjoyed an extensive career in banking, finance, small business, property and medical management, and retirement homes. Patricia is the Chief Financial Officer of the Hamilton Vein Clinic. She is a level 3 Feng Shui consultant and a Reiki master and loves playing computer chess. In 2013, she was knighted as the Dame of the International Order of St. George Grand Prior of Canada and is the Director of Public Affairs for the Niagara Commandery. She is also a co-founder of the Colors of Freedom Foundation, inspired by 9/11, supporting Round Square Schools, Classroom Connections, and Free the Children. She serves as a member of the Ontario Cabinet for Friends of the Canadian Museum for Human Rights and is a member of Sir Edmund Hillary Foundation Board of Directors. Patricia is the recipient of many awards and nominations, including Absolutely Fabulous 40 over 40, Status of Women of the Year, YMCA Peace Medal, YMCA Women of Distinction, and the Award of Excellence by the Toronto Women's Expo. She has a longtime volunteer history with Junior Achievement, Ronald McDonald House, Hamilton Mission Services, Bach Elgar Choral Society, and I should have read some of these, Interval House, HHSC, Javinsky Cancer Center, and the John Howard Society for the Center of Compassion and Wisdom. Lastly, in 2017, she was presented with the Excellent in Arts for Courage and Commitment to Human Rights, Dignity, and Freedom by the Canadian Civil Liberties Association. POW. She is recognized by WXN Women's Executive Network as one of the top 100 most powerful women in Canada, awarded by BMO Arts and Communication category in 2015. In 2016, Patricia was again recognized by the category Royal Bank Champions. Patricia has been nominated for the 2017 Top 100 WXN Award and the BMO Arts Award Communications category, as well as the Hamilton Distinguished Citizen Award. Patricia supports a library and a school in Angkor Wat, Cambodia, with a new project in Boeng, Malia, Cambodia. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show not only our beautiful Serena Bufalino, but the amazing Patricia Gagic.
Hello.
What's up, ladies? Patricia, Serena, how are you guys doing tonight?
Awesome.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, Chris, after the intro, we have 2 minutes left, I think. So does anybody have anything left to say, or are we good?
I know, Patricia, your accomplishments, your awards, your efforts, I just didn't want that to go unnoticed and unrecognized, because the fact that you have done so much work in your life, and I've known you for quite a number of years, is just really, truly inspiring to me. And I know it'd be inspiring to the people who are watching this tonight. So, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to read that off. I hope I didn't embarrass you too much.
Wow. No, that was pretty impressive. But it's funny because the number one claim to fame for me is I'm an international artist.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I wore a lot of left side, right side, many hats. But thank you so much. And it's a super privilege to be here. And, you know, Scott, it's wonderful. Happy anniversary. I saw that, your post. And I'm super blessed with my Serena here. We're excited about our conversation tonight.
Very cool.
We thank you so much for being here. And I guess we could just jump into it. I mean, you know, realistic at the time of this recording, we're going through COVID, which is now going back up, you know, at an alarming rate. We have the protests for Black Lives Matter. We have a lot of stuff going on in the world today. From both your perspectives, what do you see going on, and what do you see as, you know, where this is headed in your personal opinions, with all the work you've done in humanitarian efforts and things you've worked with inner city kids and everything? What do you see that's going on, and where do you see that this is headed?
Go for it, Serena.
Well, my perspective might be different from other people's, but for me personally, I feel like this is an awakening. I feel like what is happening on our planet is obviously universal. It's big, it's felt by all beings everywhere. But if it's approached with the right steps in place, I feel like this can be an awakening for all beings to not only heal themselves, but to literally heal the planet. So I think this is a very important time in history, and I'm excited to come out of it on top.
On top. Yes, we love that. We love that. Patricia.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's talking to me about, you know, gaining wisdom by rehumanizing our attitudes. I think it's just completely come down to this perspective of we're all in this together, and yet we feel, in order to stand out, you want to give your own personal expression and make yourself special. Well, that's okay, but we are all breathing and eating and living on the same planet here, and the judgments have to stop. They just can't survive any longer. I think it's unwavering faith that people have to have in simply giving up that, ego, so that they can completely begin to recognize that they're suffering, and this cessation of suffering will not stop. It's the cause and effect until each of us owns this perspective of simply reaching out and becoming human, rehumanizing that deep effort for compassion, and as much as these people are doing all of these bad things to each other, they are also suffering. So, once we get into or step into that place of suffering and realize that, wow, if I just simply shut up, or if I put my hands out and said, what can I do for you? How can I help you? You bring back that whole wheel into a whole new place where people will be able to actually start living. Maybe not, it's going to take a while, but certainly with more harmony.
I think this is where we sing John Lennon Imagine right now.
Okay, let's do it.
I actually sang that song in singing class. But
Those words are so applicable right now.
Oh, wow.
It is.
Yeah. All the people.
It is. So what is your definition of suffering, Patricia? I mean, I know that we can all come up with probably much the same thing, but what is, in your terms of suffering right now, what type of suffering is it, and who is it caused by the most?
Well, it's attachment, and it's attachment to, again, suffering has many different arms. So all of the things that can create suffering, jealousy, greed, just wanting more things than the next guy, reaching out into places where you don't belong, and you just want to put yourself up there on that, the top of the teepee and say, no, I'm way too important. And what happens when you're not receiving the benefits? You start to suffer. So yeah, suffering to me is simply attachment. Once we release that attachment to all of the things, it's that big, huge Dharma wheel that goes around and around. And I mean, there are many, many emotions that we all have, but turning our backs on people and realizing when someone asks you for help, even if you can't give them the whole piece that they're asking for, what can you give them so that you actually can lessen their suffering by even a marginal small amount? You've made a difference. That's good karma.
Massive. What are your thoughts on that, Serena?
Well, for me, I think suffering comes in many different approaches depending on where you are and what you're experiencing in your life. But ultimately, suffering is not really being comfortable in your own skin, not, accepting whatever it is that is going on in your life. And again, there's the greed, there's the jealousy, there's the insecurities. And then that's also when, I believe, because you're suffering, that's also when addictions start to take place or disease. When you're not okay in your own shoes, or you're not okay, being who you are, then you tend to spread more negativity and or more aggression and or more hurt and suffering into the world. So I think suffering is, not being okay with who you are, and then learning how to be okay with who you are, because again, everything always resonates back to us. And if we can't accept that we are part of the problem, we're never going to fix the problem.
Mm. What are your thoughts on that, Mr. Goyette?
Oh, I have no thoughts. I'm just
Come
kidding.
on.
You know, I always have a lot of thoughts.
I know. That's why I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you.
You know, I think one of the things that I think is so important for us to do is really look at what we are as human beings. And if we think of the concept of oneness, which I bring up a lot, we bring up the idea that there's one source, there's one creator, there's one universe, and we're all perspective points of that being or that source so that we can experience existence. It takes away the seriousness of it, because what we are is we are a perspective point to experience this world in a more beautiful way. So our perspective is perfect. And that's something that we forget. Our perspective is perfect with the experiences that we receive. So, you know, I was listening to Serena the other night, and she's, you know, working with some kids who have had challenging experiences, but their perspective is perfect because they can teach us things we could never understand from our perspective and vice versa. So it's all about sharing and respecting and loving one another. But once we realize that we're connected to source and we stop getting stuck in this separation and we find the beauty in our perspective as a component of source, that's what I feel like we need to teach more. And so every one of us is perfect in our perspective, but the suffering comes when we remove the concept that we're all one with source. And that's love. That's the ultimate vibration. We're part of that. And so the minute we can get back to that point and say, I want to experience this world from this perspective, but I know that I'm love, you can't go wrong. And, you know, I was listening to some of the things Serena said about being crazy and going and doing this and following these dreams and dreaming big. Well, what's the difference? The further I come to this point of just Scott being the be all end all, I'm going to play much smaller because I can't conceptualize these massive dreams. But you listen to Serena's voice, she knows that she's connected to oneness and her dreams are going to be big. She's going to get that $215,000 in September of 2018. That place is going up. That school's going up, period. And that's how we all need to think and understand our perspective is perfect. And when we connect to source, our dreams will come true. And so many of us have forgotten that. And that's what I want to keep doing, is building that dream so we suffer less.
No, that's a great point. Chad threw in here. Chad's one of our loyal listeners, has been on the show as well. He says, it's like being isolated, excuse me, then the need for human touch, loss of control, then rioting to gain that untalked about control. Yeah. It really is. It says, what do you say here? Sorry, I'm trying to, the things keep moving. Hey, all, what do you think about this take? Oh, that's okay. It's like being isolated, then the need for human touch, loss of control. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then Chad also goes on to say, I'm dancing with the thought of loss of control. What do you guys think about that?
Surrender.
Surrender.
Yeah.
Let it go, baby. Like you just said, the attachment.
That's what I was just going to say. I think the other major, I think, cause of suffering is that a lot of us are acting, thinking, and behaving in the way that we have been told to, or the way we think we should be. So we're fulfilling society's expectations of ourselves. We're fulfilling the wish and dreams of our parents, or trying to accumulate more success so that we can have more material and more of this and more of that. And then we're like hamsters running in the same circle, but none of that is actually has purpose or meaning. Like none of that actually means anything. So I think so much of us are suffering and we don't even realize we're suffering for the wrong reasons, because we have this idealistic of who we're meant to be. And the reason why we're suffering is because we're not actually being who we're born and intuitively supposed to be being.
Amen.
Right? So that's why people feel like a loss of control or a loss of certain feelings, because they're not actually honoring their true self.
Yep.
The congruency of the situation. Yeah, absolutely. I was just talking to somebody a little bit before this call. Excuse me. Damn, gotta quit smoking. A little bit before this call, and we were talking about the attachment to her previous stories and the attachment of the judgments that everybody else put on her. And I said, you got to let that shit go. You have to just fall into whatever you're supposed to be. And the sooner you are in alignment and congruent with who you are at your core, and you're not ashamed to rock that, that's when all those other connections start coming into play. That's when that self-love really becomes solidified, and that you when you self-love and you really love every part of yourself, even the warts and the zits and everything else included, then that ability for eliminating that punishment and eliminating that scarcity goes away, because you're abundant in the fact that you're just totally whole and complete, right?
Yeah.
I was really lucky when I did this course on the transformative mindfulness. It opened up a lot of the those attachments to the things that, like you said, you think that you're living up to somebody else's choices, where your parents or someone has said, you need to do this, you need to do that. And the minute that you realize that the action that you're going to take belongs to you, there isn't anybody else who really is going to be wearing your shoes, you begin to manifest, your truth, your call. And that's what's going to really, really resonate, I think, with what you do with the rest of your life, because you know what? No one's going to live your life for you. So, and it takes guts. It really does. And Serena and I, we talk about this all the time, because wow, she's done some amazing things. And I think that when I, look back at my decision myself to make the move to Cambodia, to take on that responsibility. First of all, like Serena will say, I mean, once you anchor yourself into something, there's no turning back, because your compassion and your heart and your soul is so driven and committed by the responses that you get, first of all, from the beautiful people and the children. It's like fuels your entire being, that you almost disconnect with where you live here, and you disconnect with all of the things that you thought were important, because you're receiving something that is so incredibly real and so touching and so deep, and you don't want to let go of it. And what I find is that the being a manifest and recipient, as you receive this recognition or respect or just the love back from them, it shifts you, it changes you, and you begin to see there was nothing attached to it. Nobody can give you anything greater than their heart. It's like the greatest possible gift that there is. And when you've received one child's heart or one person's heart, all you think about is, wow, how can I multiply that, and what difference can we make? So that action completely changes you. And the risk, like I wrote, Mastering the 5 Radical Degrees of Life, which are risk, root, remedy, realization, and reality. And every single time I begin to think about, what's my next step or what should I do, I go back and I analyze it with that. I understand the risk and I know what the root is. And I go through that until the reality. And the reality is, listen, we're experiencing this right now in real time. And what are we giving? What am I offering to the planet? I don't care if you're going to judge me. I'm the one at the end of the day who has to be accountable for my own doings and my actions. Do I want to build good merit with this body and this brain and this lifetime, and given the gifts that I have been given? Absolutely, 100%. Can I do more? 100% I can do better. So when I was in Cambodia, and I could have walked away. Patricia, would you help this little orphanage? And Master Kawan would like to build a library, because going back to the early 70s, the Khmer Rouge, Pol Pot, they destroyed all the books. They murdered 1 million people.
Wow.
And the monks who were in this most sacred place on the planet in Angkor Wat knew that the Cambodian history, the folklore, was going to be destroyed. So they took it upon themselves to take the wreaths, the documents, and they buried them underground in the stupas. And 25 years later, Master Kawan, who now, realizes that there's safety and he can take them out, where's he going to put them? The government of Cambodia was going to tear down this horrible place that was, filled with bullet-holed bricks and mortar. And he made the decision that if he could build a library and bring them out, that would be something for the Cambodian people for the future. And in that really 1 second decision I had to make, was I going to help him? And I did. And, the following year, I was able to go to Cambodia and actually see the people and meet the people and see the building. And I realized, wow, just what a difference a yes can make. Serena?
Yeah, and exactly what I was going to say is in the blink of an eye, how just stepping outside of yourself and saying yes to a new experience, even not knowing how you're going to do it, but just believing in the fact that you need to do it and saying yes.
Yeah.
And then seeing how that literally transforms people's lives all over the world. And now, I mean, I would have never guessed that if I didn't experience it. And now it's using that yes to show other people around the world how they can say yes and how they can start to begin to do things that will shift the planet. And the number one thing that I would say is if you sit down and you try to think about the exact plan of action and the exact course of action, every red flag is going to come up, every insecurity, every doubt, every negative thought is going to say, no, you can't do that. No, you're not good enough. No, how are you going to do that? That's going to beat you down. Just say yes, trust the process, and just in trusting the process, just that in itself is going to open up so many new doors for you. So again, don't try to have it figured out. Just go for it. And going for it is going to shift everything.
And so
massively. Go ahead, Scott.
I'd love to add to that too, because one of the things that I've been working on and I see that the world needs more of is we're so focused on looking at the problem and picking apart the problem and isolating and try to understand the problem versus highlighting yesing the solution. So you heard library, you heard opportunity for these people to preserve history and preserve important things in their culture. And right away you highlighted that and said yes to that, or yes to we need to build this, school in Haiti. And the minute you do that, it's all solution focused. So the universe responds to what you're going to do, not what you're not going to do. So if we say something like, there's a program in Austin called No Place for Hate. I know you guys, I can't see your face right now because it's just me on here, but for you to write no place for hate, the universe is getting really upset with that. It's hearing a no and it's hearing hate. My program's called Go Love Now. We know which one the universe responds better to. So but the irony is that's the one that gets all the funding because people don't understand the universe. So I want to highlight the fact that what you guys are saying is so crucial. And I challenge people to step out there and really start saying yes to solutions, yes to opportunity, and do not look at the process. You said it so eloquently, so perfectly. And I also want to add to what Patricia said. I've been to Cambodia and that culture, and I've been to Angkor Wat. And to me, I've been to the pyramids. I've been to like so many of these amazing places, Greece, Rome. There's nothing like Angkor Wat. The energy from that place, the people, what they went through with Pol Pot. When you take a culture that's literally been destroyed, those human beings will teach you what love is. I did not meet a person in that entire country as I wandered around in many places. I did not meet one person that wasn't filled with love and wanted to connect with me, as you guys said, from here, from the heart. There was no, we just wanted to connect from the heart. It was from source. And that's where you're going to find your spirituality, is a place like that.
Scott, it's almost embarrassing in so many ways when you live in a world where, we live in immense richness, from food to, it doesn't matter what you want, from the cars that we drive, 4 or 5 computers, clothes, whatever it is. And when you're in Haiti or you're in Cambodia or Nepal, which is my other big passion, and these people who you just have given just the smallest thing, that actually is hope more than anything.
Oh my God, I'm so with you.
It is like taking, this pen and you hand it to them and they they have no paper. So when we were giving, and Serena, the supplies that we tried to collect for Haiti when she was going down there the last time, and I kept thinking, okay, what about this? Go to the dollar store. And we were just buying bags and bags and bags of things. The look on the children's faces, and similar to Cambodia, they believe and understand that someone on the planet actually cares for them, loves them, is thinking about them, believes believes that they have a place in the world to be prolific with their life, to be prolific with what's in their minds, and that they might have the ability to survive. We take survival for granted. We just wake up in the morning and go to bed at night and think we're going to be up again tomorrow and it's all going to be hunky-dory. And gosh, if I didn't get the size 7, Milano Blahniks or whatever,
Sure.
But oh my gosh, once you've tasted the realities of what this planet is truly about, even the ecology of our planet, we talk about all sentient beings, but we also have our plants and our trees, and we have our water, our gift of water, and our indigenous people who are screaming at us to be aware, to do the right thing. So what I hope, again, that word is that just by our simple actions, and no, I'm not a billionaire and I can't fix the whole entire planet. But what I feel is that whoever I am to be connected with, or whatever that small part of my journey has been, is exactly perfect. It's exactly how it's supposed to be. So the connection that Serena and I have is really interesting, because I actually met Serena when I was a golfer at Heron Point many, many years ago when she worked there. But I didn't know too much about what she was doing. And a person who we both know, Don Bridgman, connected us not that long ago. And we just were like, could not believe how the synchronicity of our lives and the feelings that we had. But the bottom line is, every person, even the people who live next door to you who have needs, might not tell you, because people have pride. We are a proud human, being. But if you ask, or if you can actually take the time to look into what you see and feel into what people might need, it's like a blossoming, because people will tell you, if they believe that you actually care and that you're capable of helping them. You might not be able to give them the answer to the situation, but you can certainly direct them, or you can, just connect them. That's who we are. We're connectors. It's not artificial intelligence that's going to do that. It's not a human devolution. It's an evolution of our hearts that we need right now. And that is manifested 100% with people. There are so many people like the Serenas or the Patricias or the Scotts, wonderful Christopher, what you're doing by bringing your message and your heart to the whole of whoever is going to be generating the time and the energy to listen in. And that's where we're going to make a difference. It truly is. But you mentioned, Scott, the universe, the laws of the universe, all 12 of them, they're absolutely important, because every single one of those laws, from attraction through correspondence to generating generosity, will not happen if we don't pay attention.
1000%. One of the beautiful things here that I want to mention right now, because one of the things, and I want people to hear this loud and clear, we've got this age of competition, and when we go to school, we're taught about competition. I think there's another C word that we need to get into. There's compassion, but the bigger one is collaboration. And I think what happens is when we sit in our perspective point and we compete, it's always about me versus you, instead of me with you, returning to source to create something bigger. And I think that we've got a huge opportunity right now to really start collaborating, supporting, and loving one another. And one of the things that we get misled with a lot is we got the internet, we've got social media, and all these different places that we're spreading our message, and we count the likes, we count the comments, we count the interactions. But here's the thing. Whoever is listening to this show right now is who needs to be here right now.
Yeah.
And we could have 1 million people, or we could have one. And one thing that we get so carried away with, and the universe will take care of this, once our message is right, the right people will show up. And it may be 1 million, it may be 1. It does not matter.
Right.
Keep spreading the message, keep doing it. And when we multiply, we were saying there's 3, 4 of us here right now. We have 5, 6, 7 of us. It doesn't matter. Once we multiply, it'll multiply at the right pace. We get so focused on, I've got to get 1 million views. I've got to get this. I've got to get this. It could be the 4 of us and nobody's here. We're here for a reason. This needs to be spoken. The energy is going to go out there. I mean, we are energy. We are feelings. Our feelings are going into the universe right now, and they're living on infinitely because we're creating them. So even if it doesn't feel like it's building something, Chris, we talked about it a minute ago. We're putting the building blocks right now to make this world a better place. And that's something I think we all need to conceptualize. And I think we're starting to get it. We just got to do it as a collective and keep supporting it. And that piece, you know, with people without hope, filling them with hope, let's keep doing that, because that is crucial.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. Thank you guys for sharing that, because it's so spot on to the point that we're trying to make, is the fact that you cannot control every single aspect of your life. And like Serena said, you know, sometimes you just have to throw away the plan and go for the goal and get out of your own head and get out of your own way, because most of us are brought up to be in fear of judgment and in fear of failure or fear of mistakes, or how is this going to look for me, and how's that going to play out. So we basically perfect ourselves out of executing any plans until it's too late. Then we have a shitload of regrets later on in our life, and we're miserable. And we're like, what? You know, what? Something you guys said before was, you know, the book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying, and that the hospice nurses sat with those dying patients, and the fact that the number one regret was all those people said they lived a life that they thought they were supposed to live, not the life that they wanted to live. And, you know, you coincide that with what's going on in our world today. And for me personally, and I think for a lot of us that I've talked to, and we all agree that it's a massive wake-up call. It's a massive wake-up call to humanity. God's source, or somebody's going wham. I think I saw a meme that said we got sent to our rooms to think about these things. Yep. And the fact that and Scott and I have been saying these on these shows, is this is a time to reinvent. This is a time to execute. This is like a wake-up call to say, hey, listen, if your life has sucked up until this point, then perhaps you might want to take a look in the accountability mirror and figure out what it is that you really want to do with the second part of your life, and make sure that it matters, so that you don't end up with those regrets. And I think what you guys are talking about, and I've learned this from personal experience, people ask me why I got into being a coach, and I'm like, because I love to see the light go on for people when they get it. And I love to see that they have now hope, and they have choices, and they don't have to live in the fear of other things. You know, giving to those kids in Cambodia, giving to the kids in Haiti. You know, I watch those videos and I see those things, and it breaks my heart. I almost probably would come back to my house and be like, shit, I feel guilty. You know, I have all these creature comforts, but when you give to other people, it's amazing what you get back. And that's something you had said earlier on, Patricia, that I want to talk about next, is karma. You know, some people understand karma, and some people think of karma as you're going to get your karma. But talk to us about what your guys' perception of karma is, and why it's so important, in the fact that we do trust ourselves and we do free fall into those things. Because if we're good people, then we get good results back. But it's that kinetic energy, that's that universal kind of connectiveness that is happening between the four of us and other people. That's what's going on right now. So talk to us about karma and how that impacts people's thinking, either positively or negatively in some situations.
So Christopher, first, before I sort of step, because once I get into the karma mode, that opens up a whole different array of things. But I want to step just for a second back into what we were just talking about. And the one thing related to suffering that both Serena and I are absolutely compelled as we live our lives is sacrifice. And that's a big part of why we get things done. And people need to hear this as well, because the world is so attached to me having more, me getting more, always me on top. And we evaluate that based on sort of a judgment that is not, someone else created that judgment. Because the minute you feel really good about something that isn't written in the rule book, you know, all of a sudden you're saying, wow, that felt a whole lot better than so-and-so telling me that I looked good, or, you know, they like my shoes or whatever. But, you know, Serena is full evidence of sacrifice. And of course, many of you have already obviously heard the story about how she's living her life, but the commitment she has made, that to me, it sparkles beyond. It's the lesson that we all have to have, that there is that hope, that there is she's not lost for anything. She probably has so much more to be grateful for, and happiness. And when we talk about the things that we need, do you need this, do you need that, what do we have to get? It's just matter of fact. It's not built on some other structure. And I think when we take the structure of karma, which is the potent law of the universe, karma means action. And it's the law of cause and effect. And when you know, breaking it down, if you go into, and I won't tap into the Buddhist theory of it, but of course it's truly based on that. But if we just simply all close our eyes and say, what is karma? You know that if you make a bad decision or you hurt someone, you always say, karma's going to bite me in the butt. I always say karma never loses an address, but there's positive karma where you're building merit, and there's black karma. And it's where you intentionally decide to do something that could be harmful. And you never think about the results because you're attached to me. I'm going to gain from this. You never think about how many strings are attached to what your choice has been. And I think the difference, and this is why I think Help Heal Humanity has been so important on so many levels. Serena, is there a team in place?
We are developing a team.
See? So it's not just one person. You know, our karma has extended itself to us sharing the story, us giving people an opportunity. Then sometimes we think, you know, oh my gosh, are we just being selfish, asking people to step on board with us because we love it so much? No. It's that sacrifice, and it's that humility that says, walk on me. Go ahead, walk on me. It's okay. I'm not going to judge you if you do or you don't. That's your issue. But I'm going to have opportunity. And I think what, you know, everyone gives each other their ingredients for the right recipe of their life. You know, you kind of hope that you have yours. You figured out what makes you happy. You figure out, you know, the things that you need in your life. And then one day when you wake up and you say, karma is really part of how I want to live my life. I want to live my life in higher consciousness. I really recognize that not everybody on this planet is going to like me. Maybe some of the things that I say are not going to be well received. You can't think about worrying about what people think about you. It's not for you to worry about. It's for you to continue to offer your best and highest at all times. And by example, you do. So positive thoughts create positive actions. Negative thoughts create negative actions. I mean, there's great logic in just, you know, the futility of it. To extend yourself beyond that, you know, I think we are setting, as have many thousands of people who do good work on this world. Like, we're both Rotarians and proud to be Rotarians, and we reach out and we service with many other people. And, you know, it's that extension of adding more of that goodness to your life. And even if you have not one single little thing in your life that you think is important, I'll give you a good example. My daughter, Kira, she cannot make a dinner without her walking across the street and making sure that the man who's across the street gets a portion of her plate. You know, it's that simple. And maybe other people might not think that's a big deal, but it's a huge deal. That man sits there and thinks someone cared about me and puts a smile on his face. And maybe at end of days, we're all going to look back and say, you know, did I do enough, or could I have done enough? Do I own too much? Should I give some of that away? Absolutely flipping yes.
Well, that's, I'm going to add on to that, because I think for sure karma, you're born with karma, you die with karma. Karma is a part of who we are. It's a spirituality, and we are, you know, we're all human beings, you know, having this spiritual experience. But karma is cause and effect. To know that every single action we take in this world, good and bad, is somehow going to come back to us. And, you know, for me, what I say is, in this phase in my life that I have gone out into the world and I've seen what I have seen, and I've experienced what I've experienced, and then I've also, you know, seen a lot of suffering and a lot of sadness. And that made me take one of the biggest leaps of courage and faith. And that was to quit all my paying jobs, quit all my security in this lifetime, so that I can go and pursue this life of passion. So I tell people, financially, I might be the poorest I've ever been, but spiritually, karmically, I am the richest, one of the richest people I know. So it depends, again, it all goes back to perspective, and it all goes back to how you view your life. And if at a small age, which is what I keep kind of preach, if we are taught this at a young age, that these are important steps in life, and that karma and spiritual growth and, you know, increasing your bank that way, then that's what's going to shift our planet. That's what's going to cause humanity to heal. Not trying to get more power, trying to get more success, trying to get more money. It's the spiritual part, the karmic part, that's going to shift our planet.
100%.
Bam. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's what Patricia had alluded to a little bit before. As Serena, on my show, you had shared a little bit of your backstory. So I'm glad you shared that here, because that is so important for people to know, because a lot of people are living in scarcity right now. A lot of people are in scarcity. They have, they've lost their job. They've lost their identity. They're going through stuff. There's this manic angerness that's coming out of everybody right now, in a time where we need to be showing more compassion and more love. What do you guys think about that? What can we, we're coming like saying, oh, hey, go give and go do and do all these things. But for the people who are watching this that perhaps are, don't have anything to give, where is it they can start for themselves? I mean, I have some ideas in my brain, but I'm curious about what you guys think, that people watching this who are struggling, who want to go and give, but they're worried about paying their light bill next month, or they don't know if their husband's going to get a job in 2 months, or whatever it might be, and they're dealing with that scarcity and that fear of what's going to happen next, combined with everything that's going on in the news. What do you say to them to give them some peace and some comfort in their brain to help them through these times?
Well, I know Serena is jumping and ready to answer that. I'll just say something briefly and let Serena talk. So I think that as a human being, first off, if you recognize that even if you don't have anything, you do have a voice, and you have the ability to, as I said with my daughter, walk across the street, pick up the phone, go to a food bank. Here's the thing with karma. We are all karmically related, no matter what anyone says. So I don't live, 20,000 miles away around the universe. I'm here. So wherever I am, this is my community. These are the people. So if I can reach out in any capacity, whether it's just by my voice sharing, or I will share my last cracker, my last whatever I have. There are things that we have, even if you think you have nothing. Christopher, you lived in a car. I mean, you were not of the age where you could go out and seek employment. Nope. So you had to make your world a new world. The other thing is that what I think the hope part, those children in Haiti that we support, that we each sponsor a child, and the children in Cambodia who we have now given, monthly rice, and they have that stability. There's something behind them. Every one of them has the big word, which is gratitude. And with that gratitude, they believe, because someone believed in them, they will make a difference in the world. And the person who I think of all the time is his name is Sotani Pyung, and he's in Cambodia, and he's been a lifeline for me, because he's the communicator between Master Kawan, because I do not speak Khmer, but the language isn't the barrier. The fact that I've given hope, and many people have absolutely supported this. These people believe they can make a difference and give hope to the people beside them. And I think that's the bigger part of the picture, is that we don't evaluate it in terms of a monetary, this is worth this much, this is worth this much. It goes really intrinsically back to who we are. And that's my, the wisdom and the expedient wisdom that we gain by rehumanizing our attitude. And the minute we realize that that's what we can do, what can we live on? We can share everything. And the world needs to share everything.
I want to go so many different places with that. But one, I would say, like as Patricia was mentioning, for me, who travels and works in Haiti, I work in Belize, and I love how everybody thinks that I speak Creole, Haitian, French, or Spanish. And I don't speak any of them. I tell people I'm still learning English. And that to me is the universal language of love. Yes, I do. It's love in motion. It's the universe working. It's me riding the motorcycle and not getting killed because something greater is happening. It's building a school in a country where I don't speak the language, yet being successful because I'm operating from the heart. And because I am not expecting anything back in return. So I have no expectations. And I think going back to, you know, how do we serve, or how do we, you know, how do we be better humans, is stop trying to measure up to something that's impossible. Stop having expectations that are unrealistic, and just be okay with who you are and what you're doing. Because again, that's and you don't need to have money. So you were saying earlier, like, what can people go out and do? If we are going to heal the planet and you're an angry person, you can heal the planet by going for a walk in nature. You can heal the planet by taking deep breaths and controlling your anger and controlling your negativity and controlling your hostility. So again, you don't need money and you don't need to have power and wisdom. What you need to do, or could do, is to find a spiritual practice. And in finding a spiritual practice, such as meditation, yoga, nature, arts, painting, whatever it may be, in finding that spiritual practice for yourself, it's going to start to quiet all the noise around you and start to let you hear what's happening inside of you, like your true purpose, your true calling. And as we get closer to our true self, then we become alive. We reemerge into the world as something new, and that new version of yourself is such a better version of yourself. And when you start to love yourself and accept yourself, then you can go and heal others too. So there's two parts to that, and I just say find the spiritual practice.
So I have to jump in on this, because a long time ago, you know, when someone says something to you and it's just such a jolt, and your head wasn't in that space. So it has to be at least, you know, 20 years ago. And somebody said to me, Emerson, a quote, "Without a rich heart, wealth is an ugly beggar." Without a rich heart, wealth is an ugly beggar. That hit me so hard. And I think, I mean, that is a very powerful sentiment. So it's true. It's with a rich heart, you thrive. You actually do far better than you do with all the money in the world and all the accolades.
And that's why I was excited to speak with you, Scott, because I think your background is in education. And as educators, I think, you know, it is our responsibility to pass this knowledge on to the children, and not just educators, parents, all beings. If we can start to teach kids at a young age these simple acts of your breath, just breathing. I always say, like, the three most important things in life, nobody ever identifies what they are. Everybody will say money, everybody will say a house. No, the most important thing in life is your breath.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Without your breath, you're going to die. So to learn how to focus on your breath, and just like you would, you know, practice doing 3-point shots, that's how you practice on your breath. Practice mind control, practice these spiritual practices that don't involve money or power. Those simple practices started at a young age will shift everybody, will change everybody. I can just say from my own experience, once I started to learn about spirituality, when I started to learn about these things in the world that are universal to everyone, that's when my life started to shift, where I didn't start to blame people or government or systems, even though they might, you know, cause some of the problems. But when I looked within myself and instead waited for somebody else to fix the problem, or waited for someone else to do something about it, to go within myself and realize that only I can do something about it. And again, it's a lot of people don't know that. So I think if we can start to teach people that, then it will start to cause, again, the shift that I think the universe is craving, needing, and screaming for right now. I mean, it's a global pandemic. Hello. When does that happen in the world? Yeah. Not very often, right?
But we're not good listeners as human beings at all, especially as a collective. So to your point, and this is where we got to be careful, because we can turn this conversation and speak for 5 hours on one thing. And I've watched you kind of take a breath and go, I'll wait on that. But I do want to add a couple things. Right now, one of the most difficult things for everybody is, and I talk about this a lot, you know, our cup is filled with love. Okay, so we got our cup filled with love, but fear on the other emotions. And the major emotions I always talk about are fear, shame being the deep-rooted ones. And then we see a lot of anger and sadness sitting up here. So people will express anger and sadness, but it's really fear rising. I think one of the things that we really have to help people do is really work through those emotions. And we know ways to do it. We can do it through meditation. We can do it through exercise. We can do it through art. I mean, there's so many ways to do it. We really got to help students, teachers, staff, parents, everybody. We've got to help hold their hands and give them a pathway, because the thing is, I mean, like I'll go to myself or Chris. It's very easy for you to see what kind of people would be without the right people around us. As adult males, we sit in this patriarchy society where we're supposed to be tough and not cry, and anger's okay as long as, you know, we'll be mad or whatever. But even our anger is misdirected. It's never directed in a way that's productive. Like, I'm angry, so I'm going to fix this. It's I'm angry, I want to hurt somebody or whatever. And we're seeing that, and that's being pushed up by deep-rooted emotions of shame and fear that are coming up. So one of the things I want to do, you know, not here on the show, but I really want to start talking about the potential solutions, because there's so much opportunity, and I want to keep it as simple as possible. And one of the things that, you know, I've said a few times, you know, here, and I always forget how many times I said on which show, but really think of this. Every single problem that you have, and I mean every problem you have, literally comes from how far do you extend self? Everything. So right now, as I sit here, if I say Scott Goyette and you, it's you guys are, so now we were talking about, you know, in school, it's all about competition. So it's me versus you. I might say I want to be on your team, but what can you give me? It's not collaboration, not what can I offer you because you're part of me. It's give me, give me, give me. And we can look at that in politics. We can look at that in religion. We see that right now. What if we keep teaching people little simple ways? I mean, I want to keep coming up with ideas, but little simple ways to extend self. So today it's the four of us. We're four beautiful people on the inside and out who are going to go help change society. Now we'll take everybody who's listening right now. So what is that, 20, 30 people? We're all going to go, and we're going to keep multiplying that. And every single person here is as important as you or I. And we all bring a unique perspective. And if we listen to that perspective, those people don't fall into that hopelessness space. And I want to bring up one more thing without taking too much airtime, but I was coaching someone the other day, and we were talking about the word senescence. He's an AI guy, an artificial intelligence guy, and we were trying to break down some stuff. And so senescence is when certain cells actually are still functioning, but do nothing. So let's say the heart has 90% cells that are functioning and 10% in senescence. They're kind of hanging along for the ride. It almost sounds kind of like the way society is, right? We've got people who, you know, you've got this certain group of people saying, teach a man to fish. Those people aren't doing anything, so screw them. Do we screw them because they're human beings, or do we figure out a way to rebuild that life in them and inspire hope? So it's interesting that on the micro in our own bodies, because you always hear that everything's scale, it's a scale. So in our own bodies, we're reflecting what's going on in the macro. And I found that I've been really thinking about this a lot, because what if in the micro, we could figure out how to release, you know, fix senescence so we don't have things like cancer and stuff like that to fix the macro, and vice versa. Because the minute you inspire hope or remind those cells or those individuals that you are perfect as is and provide a unique perspective and you have a purpose, and I want to see your brilliance, the whole sum of the individual or the whole collective comes alive like never before. And so that's why we have Black Lives Matter. We're not saying all lives don't matter. We're saying heal that component and the collective comes alive. Heal Haiti, the collective comes alive. Heal Cambodia, the collective comes alive. And that's, I know that's a lot, but that's all I want to do with my life. Just take those hopeless and make them hopeful. Is that too much?
There's so much with, you know, with people tapping into, mindfulness and tapping into the neuroplasticity.
Yep.
And one of the things with AI that they've said is that human beings will always survive because we gossip. That is the truth.
Really?
That is
We're going to be saved by
absolutely
that?
the truth. So with that portion of our brain, Dr. Joe Dispenza, who talks about rewiring and human evolution and whatnot, the minute that we start to rewire and we go through that transformation and we begin to actually start seriously, being contemplative about our feelings and taking the emotions and pinpointing them and coming to that heartfelt second where we say, is this really worth me being angry? Is this really worth me not paying attention? Why can't we say, this is the moment that we can all together, Adidas Samraj, who is a 7-stage realized human being, wrote many books, and Not To is Peace is one of the books he wrote. And he said the only way that the entire world will ever come together is if everybody all at once. And this is like we've been tapped on the shoulder to realize that this is the opportunity for us right now, because everybody's with COVID stopped. So everybody all at once start paying attention, and it could make a difference.
Excellent point, Patricia. Excellent point. I mean, that's what we kind of started off saying before, was the wake up call that we're getting. What other things do you guys both see from your perspectives that we can do to help do our part and heal humanity, and kind of move from the situation, from looking at it from a victim mindset where most people are, because they're not seeing the stuff that we're seeing. They're looking at us going, oh, it must be nice to be enlightened. It must be nice to be able to take risk. It must be nice to be able to quit your job. What do we say to those people, to heal themselves, I guess is what I'm asking. And I think about, the way I've had to heal myself and the way I've had to forgive situations and the way I've had to change my perspective of things happening either to me or for me. That has all built the person I am today. And the fact of, like we've been saying all along, once you start loving yourself and you start giving of yourself, then that kinetic energy starts coming back into your soul, and you start feeling better, and you start wanting to do more, and you start wanting to take more chances. You feel more confident, you feel more love, you give more love. I mean, that's one of the things at least I've been experiencing. But what do you guys offer that to the people who are watching tonight, that they're just so fought with anger? They're just so worried about if somebody's wearing a fucking mask or not. Just wear the mask, obviously. But what do we say to those people, or can we get to those people? That's why when Scott was saying that, I was like, I used to think I could save anybody, but now I'm just of the opinion, like, if you want something, you have to raise your hand and say, hey, listen, I need help. Or, for me, it's like, okay, go ahead and suffer, be in your little ball and figure it out when you need to figure it out. But I'm a little bit more tough than most people, I guess.
I agree with you, Christopher. I'll start by saying life is not meant to be a struggle. Life is not meant to be ugly, negative, angry, sad, all these negative things. Life is actually supposed to be meant to be enjoyed. We're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be excited about what we're doing, right? And so I think and I love that Patricia said, rewire your brain. You have to, and it takes hard work. It takes discipline. But if you're not happy with where your life is at right now, nobody and nothing is going to change that except for you. And the only way that you can do that is to begin to look within yourself and understand you have two choices. Like you said, Christopher, to be miserable and drown in your own sorrows and continuously spiral out of control, or realize that you can do something about it. And in doing something about it, it's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to be an easy process. It's a step-by-step process. And as you begin to take those steps to heal yourself, things will start to become easier for you. So again, it's just realizing that life is meant to be a pleasant experience, and then giving people those tools and resources. So like I said, Christopher, we can do 10 episodes on those tools and resources to build yourself out of negativity, to build yourself out of being stuck. But again, that all comes with your brain and your perspective.
And Serena, you guys offered a perfect springboard already. You used a really perfect word, and it's sacrifice. And that's that gap between today and finding that happiness. And there's going to be a moment, I think, to add one more word to that would be have a baseline of sacrifice and know there's going to be a transition where you're going to have to do things a little different in the rewiring phase, and always start from gratitude. Because, and I know we all agree with that. I mean, the minute I wake up and I'm like, wow, you know, I'm not living in Cambodia. Not to say that's not a beautiful place, because people are in love with one another and there's a joy, but there's much more suffering there as far as not having. And I've got all these amazing things with beautiful people in my life, the opportunity to be here, to project these messages. But I would sell people 110% on this. You can make the choice to stay in your own patterns, or you can sacrifice very temporarily. And my wife and I did the same thing. We were in corporate America and we said, we're done. So we were making a significant amount of money and went to zero. And we had 2 houses. We owned a piece of land in Costa Rica, owned some other land. No one just gives you the tax dollars for that. No one pays you. So we're literally sitting here going, are we going to lose all this? We lost none of it. You know why? Because what you said. Every day we went to bed and we connected a heart and we listened to, what am I supposed to do? Where am I being directed? And every time we were about to lose something, a check showed up or something showed up or a new opportunity, because we were trusting source. You don't get attacked on your motorcycle or whatever because source is with you. May the source be with you. That's what I'm leaving with right there. May the source be with you.
Yes, I see Don Bridgman, and I see Ryan Gamble and Norma, and thank you everyone for tuning in. And I'm going to totally go off topic for a second, because Help Heal Humanity is very grassroots. And yes, I took the leap of faith to start this charity, but without supporters, without people believing in what I am doing and joining it. So, you know, we did our launch party in February, and I reached out to Layuna, who's a massive company in Canada. And I asked them if they would sponsor our event. And then from Layuna, we went to PV&V Insurance. And then we went to all the local restaurants. I'm going to name them because I want to thank them, which is Naroma Pizza Bar, Neek Restaurant, Born and Raised, Carmen's Group, and it's Uno Mas. It's all those community members and all those people who have these little gifts of owning restaurants, of running insurance companies, running massive construction companies. And it's all that community that believed in what I'm trying to do in the world that is allowing me to be here today. So I do want to thank all the people who do tune in, like, you know, Ryan and Norma and Don Bridgman. I see the people here, and all the people that have been supporting Help Heal Humanity, all the yoga events, the dinner parties, the Ryans, the Angelas, all those amazing people, because without people in the world supporting what it is we are trying to do, we can't do it. So I'm sorry to go off topic there, but I really wanted those people to be acknowledged, because again, without people believing and supporting, like I said, there's no paid employees, including myself. So if people aren't giving to the charity, then we can't thrive. And so that's, you know, that's another way that you said, what is the call to action, or what can people do? What people can do is they can get involved by going to our website, by signing up for our newsletter. They can tell their friends about it. They can speak about us. They can donate their kids' clothing to us. They can give us all their, you know, school supplies. They can actually sponsor a child. They can partner with us to do an event. That's my favorite, is partnering and doing events, or, you know, coming to Haiti and having that Haiti experience, or eventually we will be extending to other countries, Colombia, Cambodia, Kenya. And when you come to these and on these trips and you see what's happening in the world, it changes who you are. It changes your perspective. And that goes back to, again, rewiring your brain, changing your thought processes, and through your experiences, being enriched and becoming awakened. So thank you to everybody who supports Help Heal Humanity. And I hope millions of people will start supporting us, because we're in it together, and this is how we're going to do it. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. I'm glad you did that, because it's important to thank those people, because those are the people that we really, you know, rely on, that are our root systems. And those are the ones that took risks on us. Talk to us about this website because you hadn't mentioned this one. What is this one for?
Yes, this website is food.helphealhumanity.org, and this is specific. So Help Heal Humanity is our main mission is education and, again, inspiring and empowering youth. But because of COVID-19, as we all know, there is no school happening. All schools across our entire planet have been shut down. And so now the kids are not being nourished from the school program and receiving the meal that they would normally receive. And there are kids, and in Haiti specifically, millions of people are dying of starvation right now. They have no way of getting food. The markets are closed. They have no job. They have no money. They couldn't do it before COVID. They can't do it now. So in response to COVID, we set up this specific campaign called food.helphealhumanity.org. And what that does is sending a 25-pound bag of rice, a bag of peas and oil and all the essentials to the families so that they can actually stay alive during this time. And this is a time of crises, especially for them. So if people don't go to our website and donate, then as a few of the Haitians have said to me, come September, a lot of these kids won't be alive to be able to go to school. So we're trying to keep them alive by feeding them.
And what does that cost a month?
It's $76 a month, and that's quite a bit because again, the markets are closed right now, so the inflation of getting the product is rather difficult. Just through our connections in Haiti, we are able to access large amounts of the product, but it's about $75 to $80 to feed a family of 5 for a month. And our June campaign is almost up. And truthfully, honestly, we really, really, really need the donations. All the donations come with tax receipts, but we do need the donations so that we can send the families food. And just this week in particular, I asked my guys to go up to Haiti to go and see the families, and they said no, because all the families are crying they need food. And they're like, Serena, we don't want to go up there unless we have a good message to send them. You know, so I'm trying really hard to come up with the funds so that next week we can send them food again. So food.helphealhumanity.
That's why I put it up there. That's why I put it up there.
Thank you.
You know what we got to do? We got to do a really quick 5-minute live with that message this week, Chris. Let's do like a 5-minute live explaining what you just said, and let's send that out to every single social media channel. Because I've actually got, I'm visualizing this, and we're going to visualize this together right now. One of my clients, I'm actually working with a guy who's the chiropractor for the PGA Tour, but he's also worked with the NHL, and one of his clients was Wayne Gretzky. So a pretty famous Canadian. Maybe we could somehow touch base with him, and we'll try everything. We'll throw it out there. Let's do it. So if we can get a few nickels to get down there, that'd be great.
And I always say, as long as we do our best, it doesn't mean $1 million is going to come in. And like you said, maybe only $10 will come in. But as long as I rest my head at night knowing that I tried my best, and just putting that pitch out there is trying our best, then whatever comes in is meant to be. So thank you guys for doing that. I appreciate it.
It's funny, Scott, you were saying we must have been like reading each other's minds, because I'm like, I thought contest. I'm like, we'll sit there and we'll do a contest or give away coaching or do something like that, or into our group coaching program for the people that donate the most or something like that. I was thinking that I'm like, we could do something to help this. Hello, light bulb. Hello, light bulb.
I will donate some artwork, some prints, if you want to give them a bonus.
We can have a contest.
Absolutely, love to do that.
Yeah.
And you know that Patricia's art is in the Louvre. I didn't even know what the Louvre meant until I Patricia is like my spirit mama. She's my mentor. I am so blessed to be connected to somebody. Like you said, when you were giving the introduction to her, when I went to go do my website and she's an advisor to the board, I'm like, Patricia, I don't know what to write beside your name. Like, there's not enough room for all the amazingness that you've brought into the world. And she is such a special gift. And she's just so selfless. And again, these selfless acts and these random acts of kindness and love, that is what is going to heal our planet. So Patricia, thank you for everything that you've done in the world, in the planet, and then what you're doing to support the charity. I love you.
I love you too.
We love you too.
You guys rock. You guys rock.
So one of the things on top of everything that I wanted to say was when you talk about what's necessary as a human being, and it's have a sense of humor.
Mm.
No matter what, you have to have a good sense of humor. No, Chris.
You know me, I'm the biggest practical joker there is next to Scott.
I'm a troublemaker.
I'm just surprised you were so tame tonight, Christopher. You didn't throw any F-bombs out. What's wrong with you?
No, he only did one.
Yeah, I only did one. I had a little secret thing that with myself, I was like, I'm not going to swear tonight. I'm not going to go off with the F-bombs, just out of respect for, the subject matter that we're talking about. I mean, obviously I can get passionate about those things, but no, I just wanted it to keep it, just a little bit less colorful. Yeah. Plus, also in case you wanted to share this as part of marketing or something like that could help you guys get, like here we've been featured on this, we've been featured on that. If I'm throwing F-bombs every 5 seconds, they're going to be like, what is he, Gary Vaynerchuk or something like that? No, I'm taller and cuter than Gary Vaynerchuk.
That's fair. That's completely fair.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, one thing I realized out of this, and we talked about this before the show was going to start, is that this connection obviously is here for a purpose, and that we can use this opportunity in our relationships and our inner imagination to collectively do more of these things together and talk about, like Serena was saying, there's 12 other things we could be talking about. I love the connection. I love the group here because, for once in my life, at least, I am fully surrounded by people who care and people who really care for the right reasons and not from an egoic reason, not from a financial reason, not from a status reason. You guys truly, truly care about humans and souls on this planet, no matter what color they are, shape, size, religious belief, sexual orientation, any label you want to throw at it. So I want to, I know Scott agrees with this, have you guys back on here, but in lieu of time and everything else and other responsibilities that I know Serena has that she's juggling like crazy, what are some final thoughts and words that you would like to leave for our listeners and for each of us?
Who's first?
And also where they can get a hold of you, obviously, of course.
Go for it, Serena.
Okay, so
I'll put this up here by Dawn first. Don says, yesterday I had Uber Eats deliver me a very tasty dinner, and with fees and tip, it came up to under $75. And now I realize I could have fed one of Serena's families for a month.
Yeah.
Perspective. Super huge. Yep.
Yeah. And I think, I guess if we will end, I will end on that it's within each and every single one of us. Being kind, being more loving, being human is a simple act of gratitude and love and just being there for one another. And if the only thing that you do in this lifetime is, be respectful, say your please, your thank yous, like you said, open up a door for somebody, treat other human beings with dignity and respect and actual love, then you're not only going to heal yourself and make yourself better, but you will heal all humanity. So be kind, be loving.
Even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's it's our divine right as human beings to have joy and to be, fully experienced. So for me, I would just say that the blessings and the gratitude are deeply important, and not to marginalize, any of it, and to give every single day yourself a really good high five, and then pass it on to others.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. My brother from another mother, Scott Goyette.
No, I think they said it beautifully. And the wisdom, the beautiful heart, the feminine energy that, I think we need in this world is all coming. And I think that just support and that inner heart beauty, like connection is so that and getting it is so, and I don't think all super, we're infinite beings got to recognize it. So I'll just leave it with, I love you all. And I feel insanely blessed to be with all of you. And I cannot wait to do more work together, solving some of the, I'm sorry, not solving problems, highlighting these solutions to this universe. That's what we're going to be doing. And I apologize for my incorrect word.
Patricia, Serena, where can people get a hold of you? They want to connect with you, continue the conversation, have you on their shows. Where can people is the best way to reach you guys?
Well, my website is www.patriciagagic.com or www.inspiredtoberewired.com. And those are the two best places.
And yes, mine is helphealhumanity.org or info@helphealhumanity.org. And together we will use all of our love to change the world. So call me, please, message me. Please, please, please. And thank you, really, Christopher. You know, you've created this platform, and this platform is so amazing, especially for people like me and for Patricia, because what you do, you're clearly gifted at it, and this is one of your talents. And then you allow people like us to come and share our stories. So without you, none of this is possible. So I want to bring it back to you for doing what you do, and thank you for having us.
No, my pleasure. And I give Scott the credit too. It's a team effort. We just kind of, oddly enough, just found each other through COVID and said, hey, let's start doing some stuff. And we just started doing it and started getting to know each other. So it's definitely a privilege to be doing this with Scott. So, but thank you very much for that. It's something I do truly love doing. I love inspiring people to think differently. I love inspiring or having inspirational people on and talking about difficulties and challenges and using my voice and my platform to make a difference in the world. I mean, that's my legacy. That's what's written down on paper, that I will have fought for what was right, what was fair, and I will risk for which that mattered and left the earth a better place for who I was and what I did. So thank you for that. No, you guys are massive people, and I'm so honored and blessed to have you guys in my life. So thank you very much. For you guys that are watching, we'll make sure that all these websites are in the comments. They're also in the body of the promo, which you guys saw in order to be here. So I'll put you guys backstage for a second. Any other final comments, and then we'll round it out.
I just want to say deep gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. Really, really appreciate the opportunity and love you both. Love you, Serena, too.
You guys rock. Hang on. Don't go anywhere backstage. Okay. Don't go anywhere backstage. Don't go anywhere backstage. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Wow. An hour and 22 minutes. Thank you guys for hanging in there. We really, truly appreciate it. We know that you, like I said, we had other things that we could be doing on Friday nights, but you know, in the grand scheme of what the conversation was about tonight and what's going on in the world tonight, we've got a lot of hate, anger, and at the same time, we have a lot of hope and prosperity and great people out there supporting one another and doing the protests all over around the world. We've got people I know in my Nextdoor app that people are offering like, hey, if you need groceries, if you need food, if you need something, let us know. So people are reaching out. It's just about where we focus, right? If you're one of those people that wakes up and looks at the news first thing, if you watch the news all day and you're like, oh, here it is, you know, the masks are coming and all this other stuff. If you focus on that negativity and you let that eat at your soul, then guess what? You're not going to have any love for yourself, and you're not going to have any love for the people that you're around. And if you say that the people you're around are the most important people in your life, then you need to show it. You need to show it on a consistent basis. And like we've been saying all throughout this broadcast, it starts with self-love. You have to love yourself. You have to believe that you deserve happiness. You have to believe that you deserve love. You have to believe that you're not the cause of something that happened to you when you were 4 years old. You have to believe that you're worth more. You have to believe that you're capable of more. You know, as a coach, I talk to a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people on free coaching calls recently, and it surprises the hell out of me how many people don't really love themselves. They'll tell me that they would do anything for their mother, do anything for their best friend, do anything for this, but they won't do that for themselves. So when you start to self-love, then you have abundance in your heart. You have the ability to give to other people. You have an ability to make a difference in the world just by going and working in a food kitchen, just by saying hi to somebody who's elderly and actually having a conversation with them. You know, if you're wondering what to do, look around, smile at people, say hi to people, let people cut in front of you in the driveway. You know, when you're walking through the store, smile at people. Offer to help people, you know, go on Nextdoor and say, hey, you know, I have a gardening business. If you're struggling right now and you're older and you can't do your lawn, I'll come and help you. I'll give you my gift. Serena and I were talking about that on my show. And we were talking about go give your gift. You know, there is abundance in the world. We don't need a lot of the stuff that we have. You know, sometimes I go crazy with how much stuff I have and I'm like, how much do I use it? You know, it's what matters in our hearts. It really matters what's in the moments, because like I was telling somebody earlier today who was struggling, I said, can you make the most out of every moment? Yes or no? And she wanted to say no. And she goes, yeah. And I said, well, if you make the most out of every moment and you're just living in those moments and you're not living in fear of uncertainty in the future, you're not living in lack or judgment from the past. If you're just living in those moments and you're connecting each one of those moments together, over time, you're going to look back and you're going to be so thankful that that's where your focus was. And more importantly, that's where your heart was, because you're doing yourself a gift. You're doing everybody else a gift by being in that moment. I know for me personally, I wasn't a moment person. I was always in the future, figuring out plan A, B, and C, and D. And then having my son, and then having COVID hit and having all this stuff hit, it's like, Chris, be in the moment. That's where your son is. Your son isn't anywhere else. Be in those moments. So I encourage you guys to be in those moments, to give what you can, because that is such an amazing gift that you can give. No matter what you don't have right now, you have something. You have your voice. You have, you know, your ability to communicate with other people. You can go on Facebook and take a break from all the negative messages and actually put out funny cat videos or something that's going to make people laugh or giggle, or somebody tripping, whatever it might be. You have the ability to do something, like we've been saying throughout this broadcast. So you got to love yourself. You got to love other people. You have to be a part of the solution, like we say every single week here on this show. My thanks to Scott. Love you, brother. Appreciate you guys. Our guests, future guests, last guests, past guests, everybody, you guys are an amazing family, and we really appreciate you spending your time with us, and more importantly, doing the work that needs to be done in order to make this world a better place for our kids. And it starts by being the example that we want to be, leading by that example, and getting out of our own way, and using this opportunity to free fall into whatever is going to be. Because guess what? When we were kids, we didn't know what was going to be, and we loved it. We love the spontaneity of, oh, we're going to climb a tree or go do this. Get back to being kid-like, jump and go experience that shit and feel what life really feels like, as opposed to existing in it. Because if you exist in it, you're going to end up with regrets. And you guys know how I feel about that. All right. I love you guys. Have a great weekend. Rock on. Please share this. Please hit Scott and I up if we can help you guys in any way. We have our group coaching program going on. We're going to be offering a free inside look on that. So if you're interested in that, please message us. We're really passionate about this and making a difference and helping a lot of you guys. It's a 12-week program. We're accepting scholarship applications. Also, if you have some skills that you can bring to the table, we'll be able to give you a discount on your entry fee. So we're really passionate about that. You're getting 2 amazing coaches for a 12-week period, teaching you about love and avoiding fear. It's going to be massive. Okay. I love you guys. Peace out. I got to run.